Okay, well, as you've probably gathered, this is live, this is real and raw, and sometimes it doesn't go according to plan. So, let me recap on what we've done so far on the other version, which I'm doing again. Okay, we're on part 2 of Rewire Your Brain. That's REWIRE. Rewire your brain, rewire your mind. Now, what am I on about? We've been talking quite a lot over the last few weeks about stories. The stories we tell ourselves, as well as the stories we speak out loud when we're giving a presentation. So I want to focus back in again on those stories we tell ourselves. Now, last week we did the R for recognize. That's when you've realized that you're saying the same thing over and over again to yourself, and you believe it. And as a result, that's the software that you are running your life on, and that is how you are going to show up in the world. Try this one on for size. I'm shy. I'm an introvert. I'm not cut out for public speaking. Do any of those sound familiar? The more you say it to yourself, the more you believe it, and that shapes your reality. You might feel shy, but if you can stop telling yourself you're shy, that will be a big game changer for you. What does shy mean to you? We're going to do a little bit more work on that in future weeks, but right now you've got to that stage where you realize this is what you're doing, and this is where your itty bitty chitty committee might come in and go, see, you're no good at this, are you? Told you weren't any good. And this is where you take that step back and you go, you exhale. You literally breathe out all that stress that you've just uncovered. You realized, you've recognized. Now, many of you will know the importance of breathing in keeping yourself calm. So many people come to me going, I get so nervous. I get so nervous. How do I stop my nerves? And one of the biggest things you can do is learn to breathe. Now you're probably going, oh, excuse me, I've got to this ripe old age breathing quite well, thank you. But my question is, how conscious is your breathing? Let me tell you why. When you get into that scared, anxious mode, you've got the opportunity of a speaking engagement, and you are going into that fright or flight, or maybe even freeze mode. Your adrenaline is just coursing through your blood, and it's kind of wreaking havoc with your physiology. Your heart is pounding. You might feel as though you're blushing. You have heat rising. Your mouth goes dry. You lose what you were going to say, and your memory goes shot, and you go, ah. Now, at that point, you might either stop breathing, hold your breath, or you might be in the short, shallow breaths. Either way, that breathing pattern is going to add to your adrenaline pump, and it's going to get worse. If you can just take that step back, exhale, and consciously breathe for the next few moments, it will make a phenomenal difference to you at the time. We'll come on to why you can use this on a regular basis in a minute. But I want you to think about how you're breathing at that point. If you're in the phase, you're going to stop, and you're going to let that breath out slowly and consciously. Then I'm going to suggest that you take the next few breaths to breathe with intention in through your nose to a count of 4. You notice my shoulders did not go up. It wasn't a case of, you're going to breathe into a count of 4, and you'll see that my chest has done that. Your belly has come out because your lungs have filled. Let me show you what that looks like. We're talking about diaphragmatic breathing all the way down to the bottom. So let me take a step back so you can see more of me. Find the base of your ribs. It's the base of my ribs. Blow all the way out. Stick your fingertips together, just touching your middle fingers, and then you breathe in. Now, if you're breathing in all the way to the bottom, can you see how my fingers have moved apart? Now, if you breathe in with just the top part of your lungs, they're still together. When you breathe in and your shoulders rise up like that, you're actually only breathing in through this part of your lungs. There's a whole raft of stuff underneath, which you're not using. When you consciously slow your breathing down to less than 12 breaths a minute, you shut off that adrenaline pathway. The adrenaline goes, okay, not needed, and stops. And you come back into balance. So we've had that 4 breath in, and then you're going to hold it for 6. And then you're going to breathe out to 8 through your mouth. Then you're going to hold it in. Then you're going to hold it out again for a count of 4. Now what this does is it resets your adrenaline pathway, it resets your vagus nerve, and you come back into balance. You come back into equilibrium. So if you don't already have a breathing technique that you use, this can be a good one to do. If you're remembering the 4, 6, 8, 4 is too complicated, simply do what I call square breathing. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold out for 4. This exhale, this reset of your physiology, you can use, yes, at the time when you've discovered that that is there right here, right now. You can also practice this, make it into a habit. Do you remember last week I suggested that you make a note of those things you're saying to yourself? I'm going to ask you to put the two together now. Go back and look at those scripts that you wrote down. How do you feel as you hear yourself saying those words? And actually do, speak them out loud. I'm shy. I'm an introvert. I don't like public speaking. I'm not cut out for public speaking. Public speaking scares me. And all the various things that you might be saying. Now, I'm using public speaking because this is aimed at speakers. But can you see how this is useful in every area of your life? When you've identified one of those internal scripts, as I call them, I'm going to invite you to feel into it. Are you getting anxious? Are you getting revved up? If that's the case, let it go. And do that conscious breathing. Give yourself 5 minutes to do it. I suggest you don't do any more than that, because if you're not used to the deep breathing, you'll go a bit lightheaded. When you get up, you might keel over, okay? So give yourself that chance to consciously breathe, because it will change your state, because it's changing your physiology. You will have to come out of that fight, flight, freeze mode. You can't do anything but, because you have cut off that adrenaline pathway. Reset your vagus nerve, and you're ready to go forward. How does that feel? Again, feel into it. Does that feel more calmer? Does that feel better? R, E. Next week, we go to W in REWIRE. This is building on a process that you can do to rewire your mind and get past those unhelpful internal scripts. Do let me know how you're getting on with this. Please do comment in the comments at the bottom. Let me know your biggest takeaways from this. And come back for the W, for the REWIRE next week. Next week we look at wonder. I wonder what it's going to involve. If you've found this helpful, please do share with somebody else who you know could do with listening to this. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for wondering. Bye from me.